being so consistent with this as well. And they've been putting this event on now for 2 or 3 years, right,
Yeah,
Tamara?
almost. Actually, I think it'll be 4 in August. Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
we're getting up there. Yeah.
Right.
All right,
Well,
you're recording. You're good to go.
but thank you so much. And if you're joining us for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Cheryl Cortese. I'm a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company, and have had that honor and privilege and happiness now and prosperity, underlying happiness. I'm going to go along with everybody else in that, the real blessing is the community. We have had the good fortune to do well together, but also the community and support in so many ways, and friendship, in so many ways, in good times and in difficult. And that, as we've heard tonight too, is really unusual in the traditional work world. It happens with some people, but it's rare that the whole community feels this kind of synergy and energy and support that comes with this. So anyway, we do, as you know, a short training right after this call every Thursday night, and hopefully to share with you things that'll be helpful tips, things of that nature, and from time to time to get questions from you as well as what you would like to hear. So you can always send that to us, to Carol, to Missy, to myself. Now we had the good fortune of having wonderful speakers as we always do, but I still, every time I hear the stories, I'm also inspired. I love it. I still am always struck by the fact that you never know what someone else is dealing with. We all go through the world, and if you're like me, you think everybody's fine. They all look okay. They're doing fine. And yet you don't know. And everybody usually has something. And it's been such a joy in life to do this over all these 33 years and watch people have success, to be part of other people's success in all the areas, in health, in being able to step out of financial fear, being able to do things with their families. I mean, if we listen to our speakers tonight, look at every one of them. They're beautiful, healthy, and you would never think that there would be a thing, that could be an issue. And yet we all have things that, that really wear on us from either a health standpoint or a personal standpoint. So again, just to say what a great blessing you all are to each other, and to all we all are to each other. Well, usually when we have a doctor with us, and we still have a doctor, so I'm going to capture Dr. Tamara Sachs for just a little bit longer here, ask her to join me tonight. And usually when we have a doctor with us, we'll ask the doctor questions. And for most times, we're asking them questions that have to do with the product. Dr. Tamara Sachs is amazing in all of her knowledge as far as nutrition, not only from a medical standpoint, but from an alternative and natural healing standpoint as well. But tonight I'm going to shift gears just a little bit, because Dr. Sachs is also a very powerful businesswoman, and she has been with the company now 21 years. And she and I were talking earlier, and like, how did that happen so fast? I mean, 21, 33, what are we talking about? Who are we talking about? So, but, the joy is definitely in the journey. And I would have some conversation tonight and let her give you some of her input on just, thinking of this from a business perspective. So, Dr. Sachs, maybe I'll ask you, like, what was it? What was your thought process? And I love your story too, because I know it, so well. But then let's go back to that beginning, like what really captured your imagination or your desire when it came to the product and the business. And I heard the part about, you all wanted more free time, but something else must have happened with product, with, what did you begin to see? What did you continue to see? And, just give us a little more detail.
Well, thanks, Cheryl, and please call me what you usually call me, which is Tamara, not Dr. Sachs, because we're friends for a long time now, and all of you on the line I think of as friends as well, so no formalities. I was thinking about this since we spoke earlier this afternoon. It's fun to go back and think, and one thing I would just mention about the 21 years and your 33 years, like if you're fortunate enough to live that long, something's going to happen anyway. You might as well do this so that you can be where we are now and look back, because it's gonna be your life anyway. Might as well make the best of it from the beginning. But So yeah, Joe and I were looking for a way out of the hours for dollars thing. Even before Juice Plus, we had thought about writing a book, making a video, doing something to generate royalties is what we thought of it as, not residual income at the time. And the reason was that we both loved what we did. I still love what I do. Joe did too, but we didn't want to do it that way for the next 40 years, right? We were both on call at different hospitals. We had to juggle the schedule to not leave the baby home alone. I would take Margot into the ER more often than not with me at 3 in the morning because there was no family around. It was not sustainable. It was not really fun. So we saw that we loved what we did, but the way we were doing it was taking the joy out of it. So we had been looking for a while actually. So when Juice Plus came along, we were ripe, if you will. We had been searching for something. So that's number one. We were entrepreneurial to begin with. But really, looking back on it, any other number of other businesses came by us and through us, and we had no interest at all. This was the only one that caught our attention because it was with our ethics, right? You make money by helping other people. That's what we did as doctors. So that was okay. And helping people was what we loved to do best. And seeing other people get healthy, get better, get stronger gave us a lot of pleasure. It's not even altruistic, it was selfish. We liked it, we felt good. So this was a way to do both those things, a different way to make money than hours for dollars and a way to be of service in a much larger arena. I think it was Brendan that mentioned that you can only see one patient at a time if you're a clinician of whatever sort. This gave us a platform to educate a lot of people all at once. But little by little, it became just a bigger thing. It became a community. It became a life. And I honestly can't imagine what my life would look like if we hadn't made the decision that we did 21 years ago. I don't like to think about it because I don't think it would be as good of a life. I really don't.
I can certainly agree with that. I mean, I'll say that over and over, that how blessed I have been, because what would my life have been otherwise? And I just can't imagine. And, you know, we hear people share beautiful stories about the challenges that they've had and have overcome them, either health or, you know, financially. Finances can be a huge stress, you know, just a huge stress. And then you hear, you know, like Kate talking about being able to take her family places and things of that nature. But maybe in reminiscing here too, now, I can remember great fun, and we still have great fun all these years, but tell us a little bit about that. I mean, I can remember being at boot camps with you and various places and various events. I happened to be doing some sorting through the house the other day and came across actual photographs. Do you all remember when there were photographs instead of just pictures on your phone?
If you could hold.
Photographs, you can pick them up, you know, and hold them in your hand. And, you know, the fun, we had so much fun over all these years. I think that would be something to share too. I have a great event. You and Joe both, I've forgotten what you all were dressed up as. We kind of did these Mardi Gras parties and, you know, over the years. But I think that's added a lot to this that people don't usually have. And we don't talk about that often enough, I think, is the fun and the happiness. Because that's one of the things in all those pictures. And it was over years. I mean, this has been 33 years, but that you did, you know, when like people talking about their incomes as much or their, you know, accomplishments as far as their health or their finances, they were just having fun.
And let me tell you that all the medical conference that both of us had been to otherwise, the uncountable dozens of medical conferences I've been to in my life, no one has fun. No one even laughs. No one even smiles. It's all business and medical and gruff, and people cough and sneeze, and no one at Juice Plus conferences coughs and sneezes and is you know, grumpy. So the contrast of the two worlds of the medical establishment and the Juice Plus world was very striking, for sure. So Joe actually went to the first conference before I did. It was a confluence of issues. He had free airfare with points. He had time off from work. He needed some CME credits for his credentials. And we offer medical, grade education at our conferences. So people like us can get credits. And he had an offer to play golf out in California. So all these reasons got him to go to the very first conference, and I stayed home with our daughter and worked, of course. And he came back happy. He came back smiling. He came back with accolades, right? So some of you knew Joe, but he wasn't a man of a lot of superlatives, right? Like, he never used the words awesome and amazing, right? I use them all the time for anything. It was like, good, that was good, when I would be like, amazing. And he came back from this conference full of amazings, the best ever, the most amazing. And I'm like, who are you? What happened to my husband? And he had heard Bill Sears speak. Some of you don't know who that is, but trust me, he's an amazing doctor speaker. He heard Rick Du Bois speak, both of them at the same conference. And he told me, he's been to countless medical conferences. He had training up the whatever, and he had never heard such great medical information in 1 hour ever in his entire career. That was unbelievable. That was just amazing. And then we started going to conferences together, and it became our twice a year getaway, right? We would go and it would be fun, and we could party and get dressed up and see friends and take a break. And also, network and learn more and make contacts all over the country so we can enlarge our business, but all the while working and dealing with people who we liked, who we fundamentally got along with. I think it was Kate that mentioned that we're of like mind. These were all people who got it, who got that prevention was better than treatment, who got that nutrition is the crux of prevention, who spoke our language. And so it was easy to make friends, whereas that's not always easy as you get to be an adult, and the older you get, I find that making good friends is hard. But in this community, it's kind of a setup. You're already very similar in some ways. And so we made some really dear friends who we then traveled with. We took trips with Mitra and Doug. We took trips with lots of our sideline buddies in the business, because they were special to us, and they brought us joy in a way that no other business,
Right.
It's unimaginable that another business could have done that.
And I think these things are really important every now and then to reminisce on, and to realize that they're still there. And we'll get back to live events again soon, but just think of the support that's come for everybody, even in this virtual world that we've had to live in the past year, a little over a year now. But with the foundation of a lot of the things that Tamara and I are talking about is that you have those connections that you don't usually have otherwise. Also the education. I mean, Dr. Tamara Sachs, okay, we'll call you by your formal name, as I say. If you look at her, just her bio, my goodness, all kind of amazing education through medical school. I don't have any of that. I have kindergarten, okay, and I love kindergarten, but I would have never really gathered the knowledge that I've been able to gather for myself about nutrition, about how to take care of myself and my body. And I think this is a wonderful thing. We have such a great mix of people within our profession and within our company that bring such powerful knowledge to all of us. And that's something to really be valued, because it doesn't come to you, by osmosis normally. It just, it really comes to us through our business. So no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you. It's cutting edge information. Right. Also. Right. It is super at the top of our game information. I just sponsored a young woman just about a month ago who's going to school part-time at night. She wants to be something in medical. She's not sure what yet, maybe radiation therapist she's talking about. So she's taking anatomy and physiology and all these courses at night. She works full time. She's a single mom. So it's a big sacrifice. And she's not ready to hear this from me yet. I'm just waiting. But in my head, I'm like, you won't need all those courses soon. You're going to give all that up and come hang out with us and learn real healthcare and learn real stuff about how to help people without paying tuition, without staying up late at night, just by hanging around us. You're going to learn more valuable health information than most people will in any other kind of situation, class, course, school, what have you.
Yeah, and I truly believe that. I feel like I've been so blessed in that, you know, as you progress through this, the information you collect it, you integrate it, whether you realize it or not. You know, you become much more proficient at taking care of yourself physically. And I don't just mean Juice Plus. That is definitely the foundation, but the way you eat, the way you think, you know, just the lifestyle that you take on from a physical standpoint. And that's a huge thing to be able to offer people and to be able to participate in. So, you know, and I guess all this goes into, you know, community to business. The wonderful thing is that we have the best combination of all of it. We have the best combination of, you know, information, both, you know, from a health standpoint, a business standpoint, and community that encourages all these things and yet has fun at the same time. And how beautiful is that? So before we close, though, I was going to ask Tamara, you know, if she could just give us a few points over these years, you know, what are the things that you would say either were foundational to your business, if you would want to share with someone or even to yourself starting, you know, you hear that, oh, if you could go back to yourself whenever, you know, what would be the tips? And, you know, just from your perspective in looking at this, because, you know, we think, well, doctors' businesses are different than our businesses. And I don't think so. I think that, you know, sometimes it's a little more challenging even, but maybe any tips that you would give people or how you would express that.
Thank you for saying that, because I wasn't thinking about saying that, but it's really true. It's actually harder for healthcare people because I can't talk to any of my patients about the business. That's a line I won't cross. I talk to them about the product. All my patients know about Juice Plus. Most of them take it, or they get my wrath, but I never, ever talk about the business to a patient. That's just an ethical issue for someone in my kind of practice. That's not true for all healthcare people, but it's true for my kind of practice. So it is harder. Joe and I had to do what everybody else does. We went out and found people and talked to them and had meetings and had lectures. And Cynthia Gompers came down and did 2 talks for us in the beginning, and that's how our business started. In fact, it's harder too, because I can remember sometimes doing a living room meeting for a new partner, as we all do. And I could see, again, this is 15 years ago or so, but I could see people in the audience going like, if she's such a good doctor, what is she doing here? What is she doing this for, right? So there's that image that I think has changed over time, but still is. So one thing I would just tell all of you, don't go after doctors because they're a royal pain. we are not easy to work with. We are herding cats. It's the very rare MD or DO that's like Rick Du Bois or Jan Roberto or myself. So don't hold your breath on those. Just treat them like everybody else. Worry about their health, their kids. Are they eating well? Are they tired? Do they need some help? And then as they get that concept, they themselves, like I did, will start to share it eventually. But you won't get anywhere with the healthcare person by suggesting that they sell it in the office. That's a big turnoff. Having said that, you asked me earlier of a couple of tips of what I wish I had told myself younger. And I started writing a few things down after we hung up, and I got to 12 and I gave up because you asked me for 3. So I would
Well, if you
I won't go through all of them, no, but I guess the point of asking 12, getting 12 in my head so quickly was that this is a real business, and you can either treat it like a little hobby and make a little bit of money, and that's fine. We welcome you. But if you want to be in business, be in business, right? Are your doors open or closed? Think of it as if you had a storefront, and every time you're not available to people, your doors are closed. And people don't think that you're in business. They kind of think you're there once in a while and they won't bother to try to find you, because that's not what customers should do, right? So if you're in business, be in business. Be open every day for a certain amount of time, set a schedule, be available to your people, and do the work. And the second thing I wish I had done more of, and it's still a struggle, to be honest, I think a lot of us struggle with this, is consistency, is never letting the sun go down without touching your business, even just touching it, but never being disconnected from it, always being consistent. And that's what the magic of this business is you can make a lot of people happy and help a lot of people get healthy and do better financially if you just did an hour every day. An hour every day is worth more than 8 hours every 2 weeks. So the consistency of effort, I think, is really huge. And then the last one I'll share is, I think I kind of brought it up with the before, is I wish I'd gotten over myself sooner. I wish I had been more humble more quickly. I wish I had been just, just gotten over myself. And that would have helped me share it more freely without thinking about what it meant to me and my ego at all. And I think I could have helped a lot more people had I done that more quickly. And I guess the last thing is to stay plugged in, just like touching your business every day, touch us every day, right? Even if you're not in a major work mode, you need to take a little time for family, whatever, and all you can do is touch your customers and keep in touch. Never not be part of this community. Always have a call or two every week that you are committed to listening to. When we have live events, if they're within 2 hours of a drive, you go. It's not negotiable, you go. And these days you attend, same difference. But if your team, your leaders are putting something on, it's not even an issue, you're there. And that's how we were trained by Cynthia, taught by Cynthia, and it served us very, very well. And it's much easier when you have non-negotiables than every time having to think, do I go? Do I not go? Should I do this? It's like, no, figure it out, be there. That will serve you very well, and it served us very well.
Well, those were great tips, and I totally agree. For me, again, it's that consistency of effort. You said it, stay connected, and we've talked about our Monday night call. We've done that every Monday night for 31 years. I put that call in place so that I could stay connected. I had to show up because I was doing it. Okay. So sometimes you have to put yourself in a position where you're forced to show up. This Thursday night, and again, it's why I congratulate Carol and Josh. She said, now it's been almost 4 years. But when you get a rhythm to your business, it's a profession, and it can be a very powerful profession. But when you get a rhythm and a consistency, and I'll go back to Kate and what she said there as she ended, and every story was really powerful. But she said, she was consistent. She wasn't sure if she was a rock star, but she was consistent. Well, I want to say this. You are a rock star. Anybody who's consistent, that's rock star status, because that is really the basis of what it takes to be very, very successful at this. And it's compounded. If you're consistent, if you stay connected, Tamara is so right that if you have at least one thing a week or two where you're going to be present to get that, it's like a feeding, it's like an energy injection, okay? You're going to get that energy boost, then it keeps you not only in the game, but it's energizing, it's inspiring. I mean, if I think of every story, my heart goes out to, and I just identify, with so many things that people say, because again, I'm like Tamara in that I don't know where my life had been or would have been, or, I just can't imagine it would have been anything from either a health standpoint or a life, or what I've been able to do with myself and my family and my children and what we have to offer if it hadn't been for this. So what that means is that it means that we all have to have the courage to reach out and tell the story, to talk to somebody and make sure, because you don't know just by looking at people as they pass you on the street. You have no idea what people are dealing with. And it may not be something that you ever had to deal with, whatever it is, but we all have something. And whether it's, emotional, physical, financial, we all have something. So we are the people who can help, and that's the great news. And that also, it's a joy. The joy is definitely in the journey. So Tamara, thank you.
One last closing thought. I know we're over, but one last closing thought for any healthcare people in the audience, and even for everybody, is I have come to realize over the years that it is absolutely impossible to be healthy, to do any kind of self-care and eat well and all of that if you're worried about money. If you can't pay the rent, you can't buy healthy food. If you're worried about paying the bills, you cannot relax and meditate and take care of yourself. So by helping people on our team, on my team, have financial freedom, whether that's $100 or $500 or more a month, I have helped them get healthy in a different way than I usually do. But I have nonetheless saved marriages, saved homes, saved stress and all sorts of stuff, because people need a little financial cushion to feel safe and to take care of themselves properly and their families. So the business part of what I do is as important to me as a doctor as the Juice Plus products part is to me.
And I'm so happy that you said that. That's one of the most powerful things said tonight, because I think it's so true. And one of the things, and I'll share this one last thing here as we continue to be just a little bit over time, not too bad. But in my journey of trying to step out of what was severe financial fear, is that I came across a book that the name of it was Gratitude. And it really kind of gave me a good outline of, how to, when I first wake up in the morning and first go to bed at night, or right before you're asleep, not when you first go to bed, right before you go to sleep, when you first wake up in the morning, is to think about all the things, no matter how little or how great, that you're grateful for. And no matter what the situation or difficulty in your life, that has probably helped me more than anything else that I can say in my entire career, because it helped keep you in a positive state, which then helps you step out of that stress that Tamara is talking about, which really holds your life down. So she's so right. We do a lot for people from a health standpoint with our business as well as our product. So once again, Tamara, thank you so much. Thank you to our speakers tonight. It's wonderful to have you all with us. And let's just invite everybody for Thursday nights, because we get to see each other and talk. And thank you, all of you. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you all. Thank you, Cheryl, for having us. Thank you, team. I so appreciate you all for sharing our
Great
stories.
team. Great
Thank
team.
you.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.